Everybody excited? Whoa! The beauty is we actually get to interact with Native youth who we get to see from a young age go through our programs, and then we ultimately get to see sometimes when they're very successful, whether that might look like they graduated from high school, they got accepted to a college, maybe we have a couple of them are now running in college or playing golf somewhere, or who just themselves as young people have turned to be really just young leaders in their own right. We have some young people who who led challenged lives, who had difficult family backgrounds, living perhaps in a particular Pueblo reservation community or even in the urban environment, and now are flourishing either as a young person in college, whatnot, and when you hear them tell their story, a lot comes from the program that we provided, the mentorship, the sense of belonging that a lot of our programs do. They start to identify with our coaches as mentors, as older uncles or sisters, aunties. That family embrace, we see it, the direct results in sort of how the success that they've been able to achieve at a young age. And it's sort of like the next level of their journey. We're definitely a youth health prevention based organization. We deeply care about sort of going upriver and really trying to figure out how to frankly change behaviors at a very early age so that young people can live a high quality of life down the road. And we know that if we don't catch that early on, indicators show there'll be lots of sort of challenges down the road around different diseases, cardiovascular, heart, diabetes. So we're a youth prevention program at heart, but we also recognize that it's not enough just to tell people, don't do this, don't do that, this is bad for you. That if we can inspire young people very early on about something they're passionate about, like sports.
On the other side of their ball. Turn on the other side of the ball. So now we're gonna all be facing out because we're gonna start moving around, okay? So with the insides of our feet, just get the ball going. Insides of our feet, ball going. Let's go. Nice and slow. It does not have to be fast.
Hey, all right. If we can connect that inspiration, it's something they're passionate about, then the idea of self-care starts to make sense. So, and that's where ultimately then what we call behavioral change starts to set in. At the end of the day, it's about the individual and the journey they want to make. So so when they're confronted with a choice of eating this or drinking this or working out this day, at the end it's the self-decision. And if we can inspire that element, then really a sustainable behavioral change starts to occur at an early age. So that's really what we're about. It's not just simply about sports or creating the next amazing Notah Begay or Tiger Woods in golf, but we recognize sports as a platform by which we inspire young people to make behavioral changes.
Mango kiwi, strawberry.
Unfortunately, the reality is it is epidemic rates of childhood obesity in Indian country and epidemic rates of type 2 diabetes. Those are realities. We don't like to just throw around the word epidemic for shock's sake. It is not a term that we just came up with. These are organizations like the CDC and other reputable organizations, the World Health Organization and others, who are recognizing this is really an epidemic. That said, it's not enough just to scare people in some ways using that word. And so while we recognize it's an epidemic, that obesity is a true issue, I strongly believe that in fact it's preventable, that it is in our ability and control to head this off. And so that's why we're also focused on sort of the positive side of this, is how do we prevent this? How do we encourage young people to think about it in terms of healthy weight, healthy lifestyles, positive behavioral changes, as opposed to scare you but we don't want to disempower the fact that we are in fact in control. So if you look at Notah Begay, our founder, he long said, that's why we chose this specific area, is because in fact this is something we can control or have impact on. Where there are other diseases we can't. You know, there are certain diseases like cancer and others. There are some, I don't want to say that's not completely related, but there are certain diseases that we're still trying to figure out in laboratories what's going on. But when it comes to health, type 2 diabetes and other cardiovascular diseases, we have significant control over as individuals, as communities, as families. So it's epidemic, yes, but the positives, we can do something about it. And I think what we're doing as an organization, particularly through our direct service programming and working in partnership with Pueblos, tribes, communities, is really developing a kind of a holistic approach, a sense of belonging, a sense of strengthening self-identity. So those key things of belonging, sense of identity, sense of culture, and then thinking about it in terms of their own physical abilities, their meaning of how they take care of themselves. That's the beauty of what I think NB3 does, is we're a Native-led organization who believes strongly in the power of Native youth, and we're behind them 100%. This isn't a sort of a group of folks we're working that we're not a part of. These are our children. These are our communities. We're Native ourselves, and so it's this whole sense of, I think, just believing fully in the capacity of our young people, and then embracing them fully with love, with encouragement, with support, and then we do it through just what we would call programming. But there's a bigger sort of piece to that. And so if you ever see, our kids come and whatnot, there's lots of hugs, there's lots of encouragement. This week, as we were just saying, the families are all traveling together. There's going to be moms and the kids, and so there's this real extended family kind of a feel. We never use the word clients, or these are our youth, extended family youth. These are our cousins, our brothers, our sisters, our nephews. So there's a real family approach to how we do this. And I think that's why, in many ways, we're having success. It's just not a program to us.